Happy New Year, everybody. It's already going to be such a good year because I get to say this sentence. There is a new Wallace and Gromit movie out, and it's really good. They were some of my favorite films growing up, and I actually just got done doing a marathon of them starting New Year's Day. Watched a couple in one day, and then finished watching the rest in this one. All movies, shorts, everything. To prepare for Wallace and Gromit, A Vengeance Most Fowl, which would mark the return of a Wallace and Gromit villain, Feathers McGraw. You know, the crazy penguin with little rubber hat, chicken glove thing. Aardman has been back making movies exclusively for Netflix the last couple years. I wasn't able to check out the second Chicken Run yet, but I know they did a very cute Christmas-themed one about birds also a year or two ago, and I quite enjoyed that. So I haven't been able to tell the full mark of quality. I know Netflix originals are very hit and miss, especially when it comes to movies, but this may be a case of, hey, we made a deal with this film company versus, hey, we made these movies. You can almost always tell the difference. But thankfully, A Vengeance Most Fowl is nothing like that. It is a return to form, feels like the old shorts. The other feature film, Curse the Were-Rabbit, which turns 20 this year, just got done rewatching that today, and that also still holds up. So there was a lot going into this because the very first film, A Grand Day Out, came out in 1989. These movies have been around for a minute. And yes, I'm referring to them as movies, even though two of them are only feature length. Open your minds a little bit. Not everything has to be 2-3 hours, okay? This isn't Oppenheimer, but it's still cinema. Let me make that very clear. This is absolutely still cinema. But enough rambling. Here's what works about Wallace and Gromit. On top of feeling like the old movies, it has a very good, organic, modern approach. The movie literally is about technology and, to a further extent, AI. It's not too on the nose about it. It is in a way because it's like, these are aimed at kids, not, 25-year-olds, but it still has a really good message about what technology can and can't replace and how it should be used as a tool versus a replacement for all things, basically. And I think this is a really natural way to go with these stories. Not that I'm saying if they make another one, I want it to also be about technology, but especially after just watching the other 6 movies, Wallace's whole thing, and Gromit's to an extent, is making things. They're inventors. They make inventions for every little thing. Wallace makes him something to help him get out of bed. He should patent that, actually. That's a really good idea. I need to use that. So for the next step to be, oh, well, Wallace goes too far with making a tool or invention for everything, works really well. I actually really liked Norbot, the little gnome guy, if you've seen him in any posters, marketing, probably that I've shared on all my social medias. He's super funny. He's exactly what you want out of a robot character. He's not too annoying. He can do almost anything that you ask him, at least, and he does it very well, sometimes over the top. He'll be cleaning places that don't need to be cleaned, but they do look nice afterwards. There's actually a really great opening moment where Gromit goes to work on his garden, which is a beautiful shot. Not that these movies don't look great otherwise, but an extra beautifully done shot that has Gromit's garden and really emphasizes the beauty of nature and doing things yourself, as well as what that hard work that you do pays off versus the mess that comes when Norbot tries to fix his garden per Wallace's commands. And that's another thing I think could bother people about this movie, is just how much Wallace does not properly treat Gromit. I think that's totally valid. I think that is something that they could work on. But if you've watched the other movies, it never comes from a place of like, oh, well, I hate Gromit, or like, oh, stupid dog. It's just like, Wallace is a very smart guy. He makes all these things, but he's very naive. He doesn't consider, oh, this is how me saying this or doing this will make Gromit feel. I don't think there's really need to look further into that. It's just how some people are. And it works really well here because at times it is obviously very frustrating. Every Letterboxd review I saw was like, oh, Wallace is stupid. Wallace doesn't treat Gromit right. I'll take Gromit. And it's like, yeah, I'll take Gromit. I would love to have Gromit around. Give him to me, Wallace. Actually, disregard my whole last point. I'll take Gromit. And yet that's kind of what makes Wallace and Gromit's friendship over the years so beautiful, is that Gromit understands, like, yeah, this guy could think about me a little bit more and that'd be great. What else am I gonna do? Like, this is my best friend. This man, like, literally raised me. Like, I've been seeing the, little Gromit going around, and oh, he's so adorable. But he's had him since he was a puppy, and it's like, that's basically his dad. So it's like, again, could be better, but it's like, who else is going to treat me like the way this man has treated me, in the good ways. But this movie makes really big emphasis on that, as well as does a great job of making the return of Feathers McGraw feel organic and feel natural. No spoilers. I want everyone to see this blind as possible, if possible. He's playing the long game, which is kind of a no-brainer considering that The Wrong Trousers came out in 1993, making that short almost 30 years old. And the movie kind of alludes to that, like, that's how long it's been. It opens with years later and has a really cool behind-the-scenes type scene of what happened that night, how the police end up getting to Wallace and Gromit's place and then taking Feathers McGraw away. And it does play a very important part. There was a plot twist even. I was like, oh, I did not see that coming. Granted, it's one of those, like, not retcons, but just like, oh, well, we didn't show anything then, so we can come back to it now. And I don't even think Nick Park, the creator of these guys, was thinking that far ahead when he made these. He was just like, oh, cool, killer criminal penguin. On that note, he plays every villain cliche without saying a word in this movie, and it's great. There's a scene where he looks like, some serial killer. There's a scene where he turns around in a big chair like this with a fluffy animal, like he's a Bond villain. It's so good. The visual humor in these movies. And in this one, so many times I got a good belly laugh that would just kind of devolve into like, like the next scene would come and I would still just be kind of like giggling at the last thing I saw. And that's what these movies do, is they are cartoons and they have no shame in that. And that's a good thing. Not every piece of art needs to be a super deep deconstruction, and that's fine. But that also doesn't mean silly, wonderful little movies like Wallace and Gromit deserve to be disregarded either. They're still art. This is still claymation. This wasn't a big like, oh, we did our first CG Wallace and Gromit. There's a couple things I'm sure in there if you really look at it, it's like, oh, they used that to, make this scene look nicer or this move smoother. Because I'm pretty sure this is the longest one to date, and even then it's only like 80 minutes. So long for Wallace and Gromit movie, very short in comparison to other theatrical released movies. But no, I had such a good time with it. It held up. It's better than one or two other things I've seen in the Wallace and Gromit franchise, but still an absolute blast. So if you have Netflix, it is on right now. I think it came out on Friday. It's been out in the UK because that's where those lucky people have Wallace and Gromit. They're the best Englishmen around. Wallace and Gromit, of course. The people who made Wallace and Gromit, I guess they're all right. But seriously, please go watch this movie. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, there is something that will make everybody laugh, and that's what makes these movies so timeless, and that's what makes this one so timeless. Like, there's a timely message in the rise of AI and artificial intelligence, and how we're basically becoming the world of WALL-E, of people relying on technology for every little thing. But there's some really good, honest reminders in there that will really hit home, especially if you have dogs, or, just have that pal in your life who's like, oh, wow, I need this person more than I thought. And so yeah, you get all of that with this slapstick humor. The side plot with the cops is kind of cute because it's the return of that one officer from Curse of the Were-Rabbit. So you get to see returns of other characters. And not even just in Wallace and Gromit. There are cameos of characters from other General Aardman projects. I'm not even a big fan of one, but there's a sight gag as Wallace is flying by precariously, and a character turns around and is like, oh, I know who that is. So, lots of surprises, lots of references to the past Wallace and Gromit movies. This is a must-see, in general. Like, Wallace and Gromit fan or not, just go watch this movie. It's so fun. We always need to support animation because it is an art. And I will be riding single-handedly if this isn't at least nominated at the next Golden Globes, Oscars, etc. I'm only 70% serious about that. I'm not actually going to go riot at the Golden Globes or Oscars. That is, if they make the right choice. So I had no idea that the Golden Globes happening tonight, as I record this, had Wallace and Gromit on the nominee list. But hey, Flow looks really good. Anywho, this one's a lot more of a rant, but still a review. Like I said, I literally just got done watching this. My butt left the couch, came over here and was like, because, listen, it's just a good time. This is just me rambling, saying, you need to go watch it. It's a good time. I love these movies. I love these movies so much, and there's plenty of reasons to love them. This is just another addition to that, like, set. Speaking of Netflix, please release this movie on DVD. I did not have Netflix for a little bit because I was like, oh, there's not really good stuff to watch on there. That's somewhat changed. This was 90% of the reason me and Justin got a Netflix again, and it was so worth it. I will be rewatching this when possible because it's absolutely going to become a comfort movie. The other ones are comfort movies, and it's just a nice time. It's a very nice movie, but one that's also really well done and had a lot riding on its shoulders. So thank you for watching. Please go watch Wallace and Gromit, form your own opinions, and hope you have a happy new year.